We are back, hope you're all well, and today we're going to be going through all the games from the Euro 2020 Matchday 1. Now there's been some interesting games here. We finally had a chance to look at every single team in the tournament and we can kind of analyse their level a bit better. A few interesting results and we're going to talk about them. So I'm just going to go through each group stage one by one, look at the results, look at the teams, see what I think about them and talk about where they should go from here. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here we are, I'm on the Euros website and we'll start off with Group A. So first of all, we saw the results, Turkey 0, Italy 3. Now, I expected a lot more from Turkey, and I think a lot of other people did as well, but we can't take anything away from Italy because, wow, they were so much better than I thought they would be. Yes, Turkey were poor, but we've got to give Italy props where props are due, and they could have scored more, I think. I think Insigne was really good on that left-hand side, and I also thought Immobile was good as well. And I know they like to interchange between Immobile and Belotti, but to me, Immobile is just an elite striker. And as we can see, Italy top of the group because of that. Next up, it was Wales against Switzerland, and Wales did very well to get a draw out of that one. I thought Switzerland were the better team. They did get a goal disallowed at the end of the game, and Wales were lucky enough just to grab a header with Kiefer Moore, just to grab themselves the draw. And what I will say about Wales is Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey need to step up because they were non-existent in that game for me. I thought Wales' best player was actually Dan James, and he gets a lot of stick, but his running in behind was brilliant. And I think if Bale and Ramsey can find their rhythm, sort of bring the team up a little bit, you know, Wales will be in good standing. But next up, it's actually today. So by the time most of you were watching this, some of these games might have already happened, depending on how quick I am in getting the video out. But Turkey versus Wales will be a really interesting game. And you know, if Turkey lose that to Wales, if Wales get a result, then it's looking poor for Turkey, a team that was tipped to be everyone's sort of dark horse. So it's going to be an interesting one. On to Group B, and obviously the first game, Denmark 0, Finland 1. Now, obviously the Christian Eriksen incident happened in that game, so I don't think that's a fair representation of Denmark or Finland's quality. That whole game was just completely overshadowed, and as I said in the last video, get well soon, Christian. It's good to see you up and smiling. But yeah, on to Belgium versus Russia. Belgium just dominant, Lukaku elite, and I tipped Harry Kane to be the top goal scorer of this tournament, but as soon as I watched that Belgium game, I thought, nah, it's got to be Romelu Lukaku. I seriously regret my prediction on that one. But yeah, I think Belgium are going to storm that group, and Finland have got Russia next. That's going to be an interesting game, just to gauge their levels a bit more. And Denmark, they don't want to be playing against Belgium next, do they? I mean, hopefully they can use the horrors that happened in that first game and sort of help that motivate them, perhaps. I don't know, but you know, whatever happens to Denmark in this competition, they've earned all of our respect, and I really do hope they do well. And also, fun fact, they are my team in the sweepstake, so another incentive for Denmark to do well for me. On to Group C, and this was a really interesting group. So first off, Austria versus North Macedonia. Macedonia actually scored, which everyone went mental at Pandev. It was a really scruffy goal, but they're not going to complain at that, are they? But unfortunately, we saw the tired legs at the end, and Austria just ran riot, didn't they? Marko Arnautovic came on, scored a goal, went just crazy. For some reason, he looked super angry. There was allegations that he may have said racist remarks in his celebration, but we don't know. I'm not going to comment on that. But it was a weird one, but Austria just had more quality over North Macedonia, as you'd expect in that game. And then, of course, the game of the tournament so far for me, Netherlands versus Ukraine. Netherlands went 2-0 up. They looked a lot better than Ukraine, I thought, for the first half. It was a bit end-to-end, actually, but Netherlands' quality was showing there. They go 2-0 up, and then Yarmolenko with an absolute belter into that top left-hand corner. And then Ukraine equalised as well with a header, I believe it was. And then, unfortunately for them, it was Denzel Dumfries who got the header for the Netherlands in the 85th minute, I believe. But what a game it was. And, you know, Netherlands are going to have to sharpen up a little bit because they were rattled by Ukraine a fair amount. The next game is against Austria, and I think that's going to be a tighter game than people are predicting because Austria aren't a bad team. On to Group D, and fun fact for you, this is the group that I predicted both results bang on. I predicted England 1, Croatia 0, and I also predicted Scotland 0, Czech Republic 2. Interesting group. First of all, Czech Republic versus Scotland, I'll talk about that one first because, wow, Patrick Schick, that second goal, 47 yards, mesmerising. And I actually think Scotland were the better team than Czech Republic, but they weren't clinical at all. If they had a Patrick Schick character in their starting 11 instead of that Dykes guy, Lyndon Dykes, I think they would have won. I genuinely do. I think it is. That is the difference between a winner and a loser, an elite striker. So yeah, Scotland are going to have to shape up against England, aren't they? That's going to be an amazing game. And then on to the England game. England 1, Croatia 0. It was an okay performance from England. I thought it was pretty good. It's a good basis to build off. I don't think that's the finished article, and it can't be because it wasn't enough quality to win the tournament. But a win against, in my opinion, the second hardest team in this group puts them in good stead for qualifying, doesn't it? And great performance by Raheem Sterling, and particularly great performance by Calvin Phillips as well. So England can't really complain too much about that, can they? On to Group E. First up, Poland versus Slovakia. Now what I'm going to say is Slovakia looked good in that game, but Poland looked poor. Lewandowski, he's kind of got the hopes and dreams of the nation on his shoulders, and he didn't deliver, did he? And as a result, Slovakia take a 2-1 win. Martin Skriniar, or whatever he's called, getting the second goal for Slovakia. Yeah, Poland need to shape up because I tipped them to finish second, and doesn't look likely at the moment if that performance is anything to go by. And then Spain versus Sweden. Now, full transparency, this is the only game that I didn't completely watch, purely because I fell asleep in the first half and I woke up at the start of the second half. But you can see why I fell asleep, because it wasn't a great game from what I saw of it anyway. There's a few chances in there. Morata missed a really good chance, and then Alexander Isak set up a brilliant chance, but unfortunately for Sweden they couldn't convert. And yes, Spain didn't look good. I remember the team that won the Euros back-to-back and the World Cup in between, 2008, 2010, 2012 Spain, and oh my god, this is multiple levels below that. But they've still got some good players in there, and they did create a lot of chances. They just need to be more clinical. And I do think they'll still top the group, but they need to shape up a little bit, and they need to play a bit more direct, because there's a lot of passing. I think they completed nearly 1,000 passes. Sweden only completed 167 or so, but it just wasn't direct enough, and there wasn't enough vigour going forward. I thought personally, from what I saw, I missed a lot, so it could be completely wrong to what you think as well. So yeah, Sweden up next against Slovakia. That's going to be a good game, and then Spain Poland. That will be a good game as well, just because those are the two teams in the group that sort of underperformed in their first game. So it will be interesting to see how they fare against each other. On to Group F, the final group. First game was Portugal against Hungary. Portugal won 3-0 in the end. They were held by Hungary for a long time, and then the floodgates just opened at the end. Cristiano Ronaldo scoring a penalty, and then an amazing goal at the end. Really good team goal by Portugal. I don't think Ronaldo was very good at all in that game. I don't think Diego Jota was very good in that game. I thought they were quite wasteful. There wasn't a lot of cohesion between the attackers, I thought. But they just tired Hungary out, and the quality shone through in the end. But it was nice to see a full Puskas arena. I think there was 67,000 fans in there, and we haven't seen that in ages. So that was brilliant, I thought. And Hungary did okay for the most part of the game anyway. But yeah, we didn't have any expectations of Hungary, did we? Really, we didn't have any expectations of them finishing anything other than bottom of the group. So yeah, it's a tough one for them. And then the final game, France 1, Germany 0. Interesting game. I mean, we were all expecting a lot of quality, and everyone, I've seen people saying on Twitter that it was, a level above all the other games. Was it? There was a lot of misplaced passes in that. There was a lack of cohesion between both teams, I thought. But I think France just have a step above Germany, and we saw that with the win. Basically, they got the goal, brilliant pass from Pogba, own goal by Hummels. It's a bit unfortunate, but they just saw the game out, and they did score 2 other goals. And if it wasn't for offsides by a few millimetres, it would have been 3-0. And those offsides, didn't gain the goals any advantage. So if they'd have just timed their run 1 second better, it would have been 3-0 France. We might be talking about a thrashing here, but that's the way football goes. And I do think France will get better as well, and I do think Germany will get better. And that puts us in good stead for the next games, because Portugal against Germany is going to be a really good game. We get to see these levels, in the sense that these are the two teams competing for second and third to most people, me included. But we will see that, and then obviously France-Hungary, I'm not expecting anything other than France domination. But I'd love Hungary to prove me wrong, and it's also at the Puskas Arena again. So, full capacity, Hungary fans screaming. You never know what could happen. Momentum's a funny thing in football. So there you have it. That's all the games from Matchday 1. In terms of the teams that impressed me the most, I'm definitely going to have to go with Italy. I'm definitely going to have to go with France. And I'm also going to have to go with Slovakia. Those are the 3 teams that impressed me most. And I'm looking forward to watching them in Matchday 2. There's going to be interesting games. We're going to get an even better understanding of the levels of the teams. And I'm predicting a few more upsets, actually. I would like to see some more upsets. The only game I don't want to see an upset in is England-Scotland. But that's going to be my game of the match day, in my opinion. I do think that's going to be electric, even if it's not a particularly fun game on the pitch. I mean, the people in the stands are going to make it good, aren't they? So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one. In terms of my player of the tournament so far, I know it's super early to call it, but I'm going to go with Romelu Lukaku. I know Ronaldo scored 2 goals, but I don't think he was very good in the game at all, apart from the last 5 minutes. I also think Calvin Phillips was really impressive for England. And also, whilst we're on the subject of complimenting Slovakia, I thought Robert Mack on that left-hand side, brilliant player. But yeah, that is the end of the video. If you have enjoyed, please leave a like. Please comment your predictions for the upcoming match day. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll see you soon.